What did you think of the performance tonight?
Oh man, it's good. Mr. Kofaban here, he laid down the tracks like nobody's business. Same with the Lawless Lawler here.
Yeah, I think the performance grew throughout the evening. We definitely the energy built, and then to a climax at the end. So we were pretty happy, I think, all in all, with the night. So
what goes on internally, like within the band, when that happens? I mean, I can see it.
Yeah,
but I have no idea what it's like for you guys. Like,
right.
What's taking place?
You know, it's like this ability for these guys to hear what's going on because of how good they are. Everybody can make like the slightest gesture, and we're going up. We're coming down. We're going up. They pay attention, and they have the skills to like build it up, and it happens, and it gets dramatic and fun like that. Like it's great. Yeah.
Carlos, how about for you? What do you experience? What we just described or talked about? Are you the lead, or you all take leads?
This guy's kind of like the boss a little bit. He's the most experienced, but he is the newest, so it's kind of funny. It is, but he is like, hey,
No, I'm not.
yeah, you are.
You can speak for yourself, Carlos.
Yeah.
What?
I got a wife like that. You know?
It's like a DVD with comments.
I have something to say about that.
Turn off the remote. Go ahead, Carlos.
Well, I think the whole performance had a meaning from the beginning to the end. There was no really, on my perspective, there was no build up. There was just is what it is, right? Each song has their own personality, and we represent that personality on each performance. And sometimes it seems to be faster or slower, but that's not the point. The point is just you just play the song itself, listen to the lyrics, and perform to the lyrics, right? So yeah, each song have their own fire.
You must have made an adaptation to play in Canadian Western music as opposed to South American music.
Sure.
What was that?
Well, it's I had to submerge in the culture, and to do that, I had the privilege to tour relentlessly with country music artists and with heavy metal artists, with hip hop artists, with troops from Folklorama in Winnipeg. I played with the Brazilians, did the Batucada ensemble and stuff like that. So it gives you a flavor of everything, right? And North American music is not different from South American music. It's just the way we live. And you look at the prairies and there's a beat to the prairies, and you look at the jungles and the mountains in the south and there's a beat to it. But within the human touch is pretty much the same experience.
With guitar?
influence with guitars, I would have to say Jimi Hendrix, the Allman Brothers, of course. Paul Pagat, who's a Canadian guy out of Vancouver. Grew up being a big Dave Matthews fan. So it's pretty eclectic, kind of all over the map.
Do you play electric as well, or do you play acoustic primarily?
Acoustic primarily,
Yeah.
but I do have some electrics, and sometimes they get dusted off.
Who are some of your favorites, not just influences, but people you really like other than the influences?
People I really like, big fan of Sting. He just seems to persevere and change himself every time he comes out with a new album. I'd have to say Prince as well. He's a pretty amazing musician. It was at the
George Harrison?
George Harrison inductee into the Hall of Fame there.
It is, yeah.
He was up there with all these stars, and he just blew them all away. He was like,
virtuoso.
Something else, yeah.
Yeah. So who else?
As far as guitar players, big fan recently, last couple years, of John Butler, of the John Butler Trio. I think what he does on a 12-string is phenomenal. As well as, Chili Peppers, John Frusciante. So
yeah.
I will tell you something about it. When you check the credits of Madonna on the album Like a Virgin, one of the tracks is recorded by Dave Weckl. Dave Weckl played for Chick Corea.
No.
So that kind of saves my day.
Yeah.
And Madonna's actual drummer is Brian Fraser Moore. That is a phenomenal drummer on R&B. So yeah, if Madonna hires you, it's like you're really good at what you do.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of her production and her music.
I understand. Like, who are your favorite drummers?
my favorite drummer, the one who inspired me to play what I play today, is a guy from Argentina. His name is Charlie Alberti, and he plays for a band called Soda Stereo from Argentina. And the band doesn't work anymore. They're not playing anymore. But I wanted to be Charlie Alberti when I was a teenager, and inspired me to play. And after that, I guess, the heavy metal guys came, and I was a big fan of Lars Ulrich from Metallica and stuff. When I was 15 or 16, I saw a VHS tape from Dave Weckl called Back to Basics, and it just blew me away. And then I switched to Weckl stuff, and even my grip and everything changed. So I'm a huge fan of Dave Weckl. And I don't know, in recent years, I think one of my favorite drummers is Boris Williams. He was the drummer for The Cure. So I look up to a guy like Boris Williams, because he's people who are devoted to the beat instead to the showmanship.
What do you think of Keith Moon?
Keith Moon, it's a beautiful drummer. He transcends drumming, and I would call him a controlled chaos drummer. And he didn't play rock and roll. He played for The Who, and The Who were just this punching thing that we all adore. So yeah, Keith Moon he's not a direct influence, but albums like Quadrophenia, the opera Tommy are great influences to me. But it never really changed my playing, right? Never changed my playing. Charlie Watts changed my playing, to see his elegance playing, and I always said when I grow old I want to be like Charlie Watts.
It's interesting, like the Stones were very blues influenced, but Watts is more, jazz influenced.
He is a jazz drummer.
Yeah, he is a jazz drummer.
They paid him a lot of money to join the Stones.
Yeah.
They were looking for same with Ringo. They were looking for good drummers. And
absolutely.
Good drummers. Cosmo.
Yeah. How do you get these two guys to back you up?
A lot of begging and pleading. A lot of empty promises. No, you know what? It's this is a tricky game. Like, I mean, we talk about. There's potential here to be something, and I think these two guys have bought into that, because it ain't for the money and it ain't for the glory of Cuss. I'll tell you that. Like, these guys are humble guys. They work really hard for not much, and they're committed, which is I've had many other bandmates that have played, and they're very talented and they play, but they're not buying it. It's not.
Do you think of yourself as a singer-songwriter or a songwriter-singer, if I can make that distinction?
Well, I think I'm a singer-song. I think I'm primarily a singer. First of all, I would be like a poet, really, is what I am. But the only way to get my point across is to play it out there. I never really ever wanted to be a musician per se, other than getting out what was coming out of my soul, So
that makes you a songwriter-singer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would say that.
Well, that's what I was thinking when I was listening to you guys, and you specifically in the songs, because I've been, heard you before.
Yeah.
And that's what I listen. You listen on a number of levels.
Yeah.
And one level is, what's the strength, and ultimately,
right.
Like, let's say, Paul Simon, James Taylor, they're both incredibly good songwriters at peak. Definitely peak. And do you know who Jimmy Webb is?
Nope.
Jimmy Webb?
No.
I'm disappointed in you
guys. We failed.
Anyway, he wrote like Galveston and MacArthur Park. Huge in the 60s, eh? But did the Highwaymen, remember the Highwaymen, those kind of Anyway, he's one of my favorite songwriters, but he's not a singer.
Right.
You're better than him, of course, but
yeah.
But his strength is a songwriter, but he wants to express his own song, so that's what I do. That's what I try to listen to all the different levels and developmentally where a group is, right?
Right.
Yeah. How long have you guys been together?
Man, it hasn't been that long. It's been like
our fourth show or something.
Is that right, eh?
Yeah, fourth or fifth show.
Because that's my sense. Either you're developing together, that you have been together too long. What do you like musically, broadly speaking?
As of right now, I think it's kind of a bit of a renaissance. There's actually a lot of talent in Red Deer, as well as there tends to be more and more venues opening up. So
Yeah.
I think people are really embracing the music side of things. These house concerts are becoming more popular, and we're just as musicians, so we're always very appreciative to have places to play.
How did you wind up in Red Deer? Was there a woman involved? Or? There usually is, I think.
It's a long story. You don't want to hear it.
Give me the 10-second version. And it doesn't have to be real, Make something up. Summarize.
All right. It's it's like the last chapter of Insult and Injury from Dostoevsky.
Okay.
If you read that, then you get my life in the last.
I haven't read it. I'm a Tolstoy. I'm a Tolstoy person.
I love Tolstoy, but Dostoevsky characters are like, or Kafka. It's like
the more tortured, the tortured characters. So, what's the best known band you played in? Like people name recognition, not the best, but the best known.
The best known band.
I've been associated with studio work.
Well, I do play. I'm extremely privileged to be a drummer for the Claude Godin Jazz Ensemble.
Okay.
And we go in, Claude and myself and other wonderful musicians. We go on tour with Sam Cogwell, who's the blues player from Chicago.
Great.
So that will be kind of my claim to fame. But I had the chance to play with many wonderful musicians all across Canada. People who has been on CMT. And I learned from all of them, and I'm extremely grateful, and it's been a privilege to play for all of them.
For who?
For all of them.
All of them. I thought you said it was the Rolling Stones for a second.
No.
My hearing's not that great at times.
Being a sideman, I chose that. I chose that years ago. I used to play in my own bands and this and that, and it was fun. But the biggest advantage of being a sideman is that it opens the doors for everything. So I had the chance, for example, to play in a heavy metal band and use a bunch of drums to make noise, and play for a hip hop act and play electronic drums. Play for Jazz Latin, and I'm playing conga with my left hand and my jazz thing with my right. And I play with Levi, and I have the chance to play jaws the snare and a djembe. So being a sideman opens that palette. And I strongly suggest to anybody who wants to do a career as a performing musician to open the doors to new stuff. And if what you like to do is top 40, then just be a top 40 machine. And if you like to be death metal, then be death metal. And if you like to be a great songwriter and singer like Levi, then just go for it. I chose the career of being a sideman, and I love it because I can play. I can't play everything, but it's kind of a sample platter, and I just have fun with it. It's great. I love it, and it teaches me to be I won't say a better musician, but a better artist for sure.
Exactly my experience. My goal when I decided to really, kind of put my best foot forward playing music was to be able to be put into any situation, and that's kind of what I've tried to do. So I was lucky enough to have a teacher who has lots of experience, Peterbilt Pete, and he kind of took me under his wing and forced me through baptism of fire in a lot of situations to learn, how to be a professional. So I'm very lucky, and just trying to continue that reputation of being a dependable guitarist that could be thrown into most situations.
Are you from Red Deer?
I'm originally from Prince Edward Island, but live here now, yeah.
When did you move here?
8 years ago.
Yeah. I actually lived on Prince Edward Island once.
Oh.
This was like 70s, eh?
Oh, okay.
It was really hippieville and...
Still is.
It is, eh? I gotta move back there.
Very artsy.